Oi, pessoal! Estamos aqui para mais um vídeo de frases e nesse vídeo vou colocar todos os tempos verbais. Se por acaso alguém tiver dificuldade sobre o que é tempo verbal, como é a estrutura de cada tempo verbal, deixa aqui nos comentários que eu faço um vídeo para vocês explicando tudo, tá bom? Vamos lá? Sammy and Lila were talking and laughing. Sammy e Lila estavam conversando e rindo. Sammy and Lila were talking and laughing. Lembrando que o laughing, né, o rindo, se escreve com GH, mas pronuncia o F, laughing. Sammy and Lila were talking and laughing. Anna and Lila were in a small park area. Ana e Lila estavam em uma pequena área do parque. Anna and Lila were in a small park area. Sammy didn't want to be in a relationship. Sammy não queria estar em um relacionamento. Sammy didn't want to be in a relationship. Lila liked supporting Sammy and his team. Lila gostou de apoiar Sammy e sua equipe. Lila liked supporting Sammy and his team. Sammy has always wanted Lila to be happy. Sammy sempre quis que Lila fosse feliz. Sammy has always wanted Lila to be happy. Sammy started getting very close to Lila. Sammy começou a se aproximar muito de Lila. Sammy started getting very close to Lila. Sammy and Lila were both free for lunch. Sammy e Lila estavam livres para o almoço. Sammy and Lila were both free for lunch. Esse both significa ambos, tá? Sammy and Lila were both free for lunch. Sammy came to Lila to face her in person. Sammy foi até Lila para enfrentá-la pessoalmente. Sammy came to Lila to face her in person. Sammy wondered why Lila cared about that. Sammy se perguntou por que Lila se importava com isso. Sammy wondered why Lila cared about that. Sammy wants to talk to his sister tonight. Sammy quer falar com sua irmã esta noite. Sammy wants to talk to his sister tonight. Sammy never really said anything to Lila. Sammy nunca disse nada a Lila. Sammy never really said anything to Lila. Sammy doesn't like anybody in this school. Sammy não gosta de ninguém nessa escola. Sammy doesn't like anybody in this school. Lila hit Sammy with a glove in his face. Lila bateu em Sammy com uma luva em seu rosto. Lila hit Sammy with a glove in his face. Sammy can come to talk to me face to face. Sammy pode vir falar comigo cara a cara. Sammy can come to talk to me face to face. Sammy was throwing clothes out of his locker. Sammy estava jogando roupas fora do armário. Sammy was throwing clothes out of his locker. Sammy has never seen that part of his mom. Sammy nunca viu essa parte de sua mãe. Sammy has never seen that part of his mom. Sammy was tired of seeing Lila like that. Sammy estava cansado de ver Lila assim. Sammy was tired of seeing Lila like that. Tom is one of Mary's research assistants. Tom é dos assistentes de pesquisa de Mary. Tom is one of Mary's research assistants. Sammy and Lila went to family counseling. Sammy e Lila foram ao conselho de família. Sammy and Lila went to family counseling. Sammy heard Lila and Farid fight all day. Sammy ouviu Lila e Farid brigarem o dia todo. Sammy heard Lila and Farid fight all day. Sammy needs to make a decision about that. Sammy precisa tomar uma decisão sobre isso. Sammy needs to make a decision about that. Sammy started saving money to go to Cairo. Sammy começou a economizar dinheiro para ir ao Cairo. Sammy started saving money to go to Cairo. Sammy and Farid were still sharing a room. Sammy e Farid ainda dividiam o quarto. Sammy and Farid were still sharing a room. Sammy was in the bathroom for a long time. Sammy ficou muito tempo no banheiro. Sammy was in the bathroom for a long time. Sammy and Lila didn't talk on the flight. Sammy e Lila não conversaram durante o voo. Sammy and Lila didn't talk on the flight. Sammy was only there for 5 or 6 days. Sammy ficou lá apenas 5 ou 6 dias. Sammy was only there for 5 or 6 days. Sammy gave us money for the roller coaster. Sammy nos deu dinheiro para a montanha-russa. Sammy gave us money for the roller coaster. Sammy sat with Lila on the roller coaster. Sammy sentou-se com Lila na montanha-russa. Sammy sat with Lila on the roller coaster. Sammy filmed a video on the roller coaster. Sammy filmou vídeo na montanha-russa. Sammy filmed a video on the roller coaster. Sammy filmed himself on the roller coaster. Sammy se filmou na montanha-russa. Sammy filmed himself on the roller coaster. Sammy was right outside that toilet stall. Sammy estava do lado de fora daquele banheiro. Sammy was right outside that toilet stall. Sammy already knows that Lila did that. Sammy já sabe que Lila fez isso. Sammy already knows that Lila did that. Sammy got that cat when he was around 6. Sammy ganhou aquele gato quando tinha cerca de 6 anos. Sammy got that cat when he was around 6. Sammy is not going to be defeated by this. Sammy não será derrotado por isso. Sammy is not going to be defeated by this. Sammy is tired of being treated like that. Sammy está cansado de ser tratado assim. Sammy is tired of being treated like that. Sammy and Lila just sat there in silence. Sammy e Lila ficaram sentados em silêncio. Sammy and Lila just sat there in silence. Sammy and Lila went to the pool together. Sammy e Lila foram juntos para a piscina. Sammy and Lila went to the pool together. Sammy didn't want Lila to see him crying. Sammy não queria que Lila o visse chorando. Sammy didn't want Lila to see him crying. Sammy received a birthday gift from Lila. Sammy recebeu presente de aniversário de Lila. Sammy received a birthday gift from Lila. Sammy and Lila went to the mall together. Sammy and Lila foram juntos ao shopping. Sammy and Lila went to the mall together. Sammy and Lila are yelling at each other. Sammy e Lila estão gritando com o outro. Sammy and Lila are yelling at each other. Sammy spent a lot of time with his parrot. Sammy passou muito tempo com seu papagaio. Sammy spent a lot of time with his parrot. Sammy took Lila's parrot out of its cage. Sammy tirou o papagaio de Lila da gaiola. Sammy took Lila's parrot out of its cage. Sammy's dog was on the sidewalk bleeding. O cachorro de Sam estava na calçada sangrando. Sam's dog was on the sidewalk bleeding. Sammy will always be remembered and loved. Sammy sempre será lembrado e amado. Sammy will always be remembered and loved. Sammy started texting me a lot. Sammy começou a me enviar muitas mensagens de texto. Sammy started texting me a lot. Sammy and Lila decided to go to the mall. Sammy e Lila decidiram ir ao shopping. Sammy and Lila decided to go to the mall. Sammy wanted Lila to stay single for him. Sammy queria que Lila permanecesse solteira por ele. Sammy wanted Lila to stay single for him. Sammy was with Lila for almost 6 years. Sammy esteve com Lila por quase 6 anos. Sammy was with Lila for almost 6 years. Sammy needs to understand and accept that. Sammy precisa entender e aceitar isso. Sammy needs to understand and accept that. He fought for freedom and he died for it. Ele lutou pela liberdade e morreu por ela. He fought for freedom and he died for it. This is something I have to do by myself. Isso é algo que tenho que fazer sozinho. This is something I have to do by myself. John has never beaten his wife, Maria. John nunca bateu na esposa, Maria. John has never beaten his wife, Maria. Be careful. Don't touch a venomous snake. Tome cuidado. Não toque em uma cobra venenosa. Be careful. Don't touch a venomous snake. What are the ingredients of a happy life? Quais são os ingredientes de uma vida feliz? What are the ingredients of a happy life? I'm not the type that gives up so easily. Não sou do tipo que desiste tão facilmente. I'm not the type that gives up so easily. Ou podemos dizer também, I'm not the kind that gives up too easily. Não sou do tipo que desiste facilmente. I'm not the kind that gives up too easily. I gave you my trust and you betrayed it. Eu te dei minha confiança e você a traiu. I gave you my trust and you betrayed it. Tom and Mary unfolded the folding chairs. Tom e Mary desdobraram as cadeiras dobráveis. Tom and Mary unfolded the folding chairs. If you have something to say, get it out. Se você tem algo a dizer, diga. If you have something to say, get it out. Ou podemos dizer, if you have something to say it now. Se você tem algo a dizer, diga agora. If you have something to say it now. I'm not Tom's type and he's not my type. Não sou o tipo de Tom e ele não é meu tipo. I'm not Tom's type and he's not my type. You know Tom needs to do that, don't you? Você sabe que Tom precisa fazer isso, não é? You know Tom needs to do that, don't you? I don't think we'll get home before dark. Acho que não chegaremos em casa antes de escurecer. I don't think we'll get home before dark. Sammy wanted to go to the Halloween party. Sammy queria ir à festa de Halloween. Sammy wanted to go to the Halloween party. Lila was acting and talking like a dude. Lila estava agindo e falando como cara. Lila was acting and talking like a dude. Sammy was standing with a girl on the bus. Sammy estava com uma garota no ônibus. Sammy was standing with a girl on the bus. Sammy and Lila had the same lunch period. Sammy e Lila almoçaram no mesmo horário. Sammy and Lila had the same lunch period. Sammy is meeting Lila for the first time. Sammy vai conhecer Lila pela primeira vez. Sammy is meeting Lila for the first time. Sammy seemed a lot older than what he was. Sammy parecia muito mais velho do que era. Sammy seemed a lot older than what he was. Sammy and Lila combined their households. Sammy e Lila uniram suas famílias. Sammy and Lila combined their households. Sam's school is all the way across town. A escola de Sammy fica do outro lado da cidade. Sam's school is all the way across town. Sammy felt like somebody was watching him. Sammy sentiu como se alguém estivesse o observando. Sammy felt like somebody was watching him. Sammy wanted to see Lila's gorgeous face. Sammy queria ver o rosto lindo de Lila. Sammy wanted to see Lila's gorgeous face. Sammy gave Lila the benefit of the doubt. Sammy deu a Lila o benefício da dúvida. Sammy gave Lila the benefit of doubt. Sammy didn't want his parents to find out. Sammy não queria que seus pais descobrissem. Sammy didn't want his parents to find out. Sammy shouldn't make this into a big deal. Sammy não deveria transformar isso em grande coisa. Sammy shouldn't make this into a big deal. Sammy and Lila text each other every day. Sammy e Lila trocam mensagens todos os dias. Sammy e Lila text each other every day. Sammy went straight to his room, upstairs. Sammy foi direto para seu quarto, lá em cima. Sammy went straight to his room, upstairs. Sammy and John have been friends forever. Sammy e John são amigos desde sempre. Sammy and John have been friends forever. Sammy had a bunch of brothers and sisters. Sammy tinha vários irmãos e irmãs. Sammy had a bunch of brothers and sisters. Sammy needed to keep an eye on his email. Sammy precisava ficar de olho em seu e-mail. Sammy needed to keep an eye on his email. Sammy warned Lila not to cross that line. Sammy alertou Lila para não cruzar essa linha. Sammy warned Lila not to cross that line. Sammy wanted to make himself really clear. Sammy queria ser bem claro. Sammy wanted to make himself really clear. Sammy and Lila aren't talking about that. Sammy e Lila não estão falando sobre isso. Sammy and Lila aren't talking about that. Sammy and his co-workers were in a circle. Sammy e seus colegas de trabalho formavam um círculo. Sammy and his co-workers were in a circle. Sammy and Lila walked out of the kitchen. Sammy e Lila saíram da cozinha. Sammy and Lila walked out of the kitchen. Sammy had an issue with the cash register. Sammy teve um problema com a caixa registradora. Sammy had an issue with the cash register. Sammy pulled the door of the freezer open. Sammy abriu a porta do freezer. Sammy pulled the door of the freezer open. Sammy took part in an audition for a play. Sammy participou de um teste para uma peça. Sammy took part in an audition for a play. Sammy learned a small choreographed dance. Sammy aprendeu uma pequena dança coreografada. Sammy learned a small choreographed dance. Sammy caught Lila with a boy in her room. Sammy pegou Lila com um menino em seu quarto. Sammy caught Lila with a boy in her room. Sammy was eating with some of his friends. Sammy estava comendo com alguns de seus amigos. Sammy was eating with some of his friends. Sammy was trying to get Lila's attention. Sammy estava tentando chamar a atenção de Lila. Sammy was trying to get Lila's attention. Sammy didn't tell Lila that he liked her. Sammy não disse a Lila que gostava dela. Sammy didn't tell Lila that he liked her. Sammy was a sophomore at that high school. Sammy estava no segundo ano daquela escola. Sammy was a sophomore at that high school. Sammy realized that Lila didn't like him. Sammy percebeu que Lila não gostava dele. Sammy realized that Lila didn't like him. Sammy was getting ready for the interview. Sammy estava se preparando para a entrevista. Sammy was getting ready for the interview. Sammy was working with that movie theater. Sammy estava trabalhando naquele cinema. Sammy was working with that movie theater. Sammy is not friend with any of his exes. Sammy não é amigo de nenhuma de suas ex-namoradas. Sammy is not friends with any of his exes. Sammy told Lila he needed to talk to her. Sammy disse a Lila que precisava falar com ela. Sammy told Lila he needed to talk to her. Sammy was sitting there looking at Lila. Sammy estava sentado lá, olhando para Lila. Sammy was sitting there looking at Lila. Sammy decided to talk to Lila that night. Sammy decidiu conversar com Lila naquela noite. Sammy decided to talk to Lila that night. Sammy didn't know what was wrong with him. Sammy não sabia o que havia de errado com ele. Sammy didn't know what was wrong with him. Sammy and Lila were competing for points. Sammy e Lila competiam por pontos. Sammy and Lila were competing for points. Sammy was sitting there holding his face. Sammy estava lá segurando seu rosto. Sammy was sitting there holding his face. Sammy didn't need that negative attention. Sammy não precisava dessa atenção negativa. Sammy didn't need that negative attention. Sammy was already a part of the team. Sammy já fazia parte da equipe. Sammy was already a part of the team. Sammy and Lila are on the same team. Sammy e Lila estão na mesma equipe. Sammy and Lila are on the same team. Sammy has been Lila's neighbor for years. Sammy é vizinho de Lila há anos. Sammy has been Lila's neighbor for years. Sammy has been in and out of the hospital. Sammy tem entrado e saído do hospital. Sammy has been in and out of the hospital. Sammy knew about what happened with Lila. Sammy sabia o que aconteceu com Lila. Sammy knew about what happened with Lila. Sammy went to the supermarket to buy soda. Sammy foi ao supermercado comprar refrigerante. Sammy went to the supermarket to buy soda. You never quite know when you need it. Você nunca sabe quando vai precisar. You never quite know when you will need it. Mary wanted to know everything about Tom. Mary queria saber tudo sobre Tom. Mary wanted to know everything about Tom. Mary wanted to know everything about you. Mary queria saber tudo sobre você. Mary wanted to know everything about you. I can't believe that Tom did that for me. Não acredito que Tom fez isso por mim. I can't believe that Tom did that for me. He got transferred to another department. Ele foi transferido para outro departamento. He got transferred to another department. It's easy to forget that the microphone is on. É fácil esquecer que o microfone está ligado. It's easy to forget that microphone is on. Mary's dog, Fiona, had a litter of puppies. A cadela de Mary, Fiona, teve uma ninhada de cachorrinhos. Mary's dog, Fiona, had a litter of puppies. Swear you'll never go back to that beach. Jure que nunca mais voltará àquela praia. Swear you will never go back to that beach. Mary was the mastermind behind the fraud. Mary foi a mente por trás da fraude. Mary was the mastermind behind the fraud. Sammy doesn't want to talk about his past. Sammy não quer falar sobre o seu passado. Sammy doesn't want to talk about his past. Sammy went to Canada to see some relatives. Sammy foi ao Canadá para ver alguns parentes. Sammy went to Canada to see some relatives. Sammy used those syringes for doing drugs. Sammy usou aquelas seringas para usar drogas. Sammy used those syringes for doing drugs. Sammy e Lila sat at a two-person table. Sammy e Lila sentaram-se em uma mesa para duas pessoas. Sammy and Lila sat at a two-person table. Sammy kept writing on his spiral notebook. Sammy continuou escrevendo em seu caderno espiral. Sammy kept writing in his spiral notebook. Sammy really enjoyed doing this with kids. Sammy realmente gostou de fazer isso com as crianças. Sammy really enjoyed doing this with kids. Sammy found a lot about Lila on Facebook. Sammy descobriu muito sobre Lila no Facebook. Sammy found a lot about Lila on Facebook. Sammy never said who that little girl was. Sammy nunca disse quem era aquela menina. Sammy never said who that little girl was. Sammy didn't want to be involved in drama. Sammy não queria se envolver em drama. Sammy didn't want to be involved in drama. Sammy has been wanting to hear this story. Sammy está querendo ouvir essa história. Sammy has been wanting to hear this story. Sammy is going to find a new receptionist. Sammy vai encontrar uma nova recepcionista. Sammy is going to find a new receptionist. Sammy wanted to introduce Lila to Farid. Sammy queria apresentar Lila a Farid. Sammy wanted to introduce Lila to Farid. Sammy has already downed his second drink. Sammy já bebeu seu segundo drink, ou sua segunda bebida. Sammy has already downed his second drink. The conference will take place in Boston. A conferência acontecerá em Boston. The conference will take place in Boston. Sammy doesn't even know where he's going. Sammy nem sabe para onde está indo. Sammy doesn't even know where he's going. Sammy gave this to Lila for her birthday. Sammy deu isso para Lila de aniversário. Sammy gave this to Lila for her birthday. Sammy wasn't really trying to settle down. Sammy não estava realmente tentando se acalmar. Sammy wasn't really trying to settle down. Did you take these pictures in Australia? Você tirou essas fotos na Austrália? Did you take these pictures in Australia? Sammy didn't have any questions for Lila. Sammy não tinha perguntas para Lila. Sammy didn't have any questions for Lila. Lila is Sammy's administrative assistant. Lila é assistente administrativa de Sammy. Lila is Sammy's administrative assistant. Sammy is chatting with a girl named Lila. Sammy está conversando com uma garota chamada Lila. Sammy is chatting with a girl named Lila. Sammy was looking for the activation code. Sammy estava procurando o código de ativação. Sammy was looking for the activation code. Sammy already has his way of doing things. Sammy já tem seu jeito de fazer as coisas. Sammy already has his way of doing things. Sammy was supposed to be supporting Lila. Sammy deveria apoiar Lila. Sammy was supposed to be supporting Lila. Sammy's office has been raided by the FBI. O escritório de Sammy foi invadido pelo FBI. Sammy's office has been raided by the FBI. Sammy was trying to get his life together. Sammy estava tentando organizar sua vida. Sammy was trying to get his life together. Sammy told us real stories about his past. Sammy nos contou histórias reais sobre seu passado. Sammy told us real stories about his past. Sammy needs to understand what's going on. Sammy precisa entender o que está acontecendo. Sammy needs to understand what's going on. Tom said he wants to show Mary something. Tom disse que quer mostrar algo a Mary. Tom said he wants to show Mary something. Sammy and Lila were eating at McDonald's. Sammy e Lila estavam comendo no McDonald's. Sammy and Lila were eating at McDonald's. Sammy never did some shit like that again. Sammy nunca mais fez uma merda dessas. Sammy never did some shit like that again. Sammy knew that Lila didn't deserve that. Sammy sabia que Lila não merecia isso. Sammy knew that Lila didn't deserve that. Sammy wanted to have breakfast with Lila. Sammy queria tomar café da manhã com Lila. Sammy wanted to have breakfast with Lila. Sammy had a surprise planned after dinner. Sammy planejou uma surpresa depois do jantar. Sammy had a surprise planned after dinner. Sammy lived in a Victorian-inspired house. Sammy morava em uma casa de inspiração vitoriana. Sammy lived in a Victorian-inspired house. Sammy doesn't want to meet Lila's family. Sammy não quer conhecer a família de Lila. Sammy doesn't want to meet Lila's family. Sammy and Lila are not in a relationship. Sammy e Lila não estão em um relacionamento. Sammy and Lila are not in a relationship. Sammy told his dad that he was moving out. Sammy disse ao pai que estava se mudando. Sammy told his dad that he was moving out. Sammy asked Lila to give him a ride home. Sammy pediu a Lila que lhe desse uma carona para casa. Sammy asked Lila to give him a ride home. Tom didn't want to hear a thing about it. Tom não queria ouvir nada sobre isso. Tom didn't want to hear a thing about it. She didn't want to hear a thing about it. Ela não queria ouvir nada sobre isso. She didn't want to hear a thing about it. How many times have you done that before? Quantas vezes você já fez isso antes? How many times have you done that before? Sammy is not just here to listen, Lila complain. Sammy não está aqui apenas para ouvir Lila reclamar. Sammy is not just here to listen Lila complain. Sammy started telling me more about Lila. Sammy começou a me contar mais sobre Lila. Sammy started telling me more about Lila. Sammy came over to watch the boxing match. Sammy veio assistir a luta de boxe. Sammy came over to watch the boxing match. Sammy was finally about to meet that girl. Sammy finalmente estava prestes a conhecer aquela garota. Sammy was finally about to meet that girl. Sammy stood outside of the boys' bathroom. Sammy ficou do lado de fora do banheiro masculino. Sammy stood outside of the boys' bathroom. Sammy was standing right by the trash can. Sammy estava parado perto da lata de lixo. Sammy was standing right by the trash can. I didn't know who would bring the letter. Eu não sabia quem traria a carta. I didn't know who would bring the letter. Sammy went to the mosque 5 times a day. Sammy ia à mesquita 5 vezes por dia. Sammy went to the mosque 5 times a day. Sam's parents decided to have a divorce. Os pais de Sammy decidiram se divorciar. Sammy's parents decided to have a divorce. Sammy and Lila were friends from nursery. Sammy e Lila eram amigos desde a creche. Sammy and Lila were friends from nursery. Sammy was scared of his parents' reaction. Sammy estava com medo da reação de seus pais. Sammy was scared of his parents' reaction. Sammy tried to help Lila, but he couldn't. Sammy tentou ajudar Lila, mas não conseguiu. Sammy tried to help Lila, but he couldn't. Sammy is going to talk to you about the school. Sammy vai falar com você sobre a escola. Sammy is going to talk to you about the school. Sammy found serious mistakes in the Bible. Sammy encontrou erros graves na Bíblia. Sammy found serious mistakes in the Bible. Sammy made friends with other first years. Sammy fez amizade com outros alunos do primeiro ano. Sammy made friends with other first years. They hoped they would make a fast profit. Eles esperavam obter lucro rápido. They hoped they would make a fast profit. We seemed then to be all of the same age. Parecíamos então ter todos a mesma idade. We seemed then to be all of the same age. Can you make out why he won't go with us? Você consegue entender por que ele não vai conosco? Can you make out why he won't go with us? Tom doesn't know how to use the computer. Tom não sabe usar o computador. Tom doesn't know how to use the computer. I don't think Tom is as stubborn as Mary. Não acho que Tom seja tão teimoso quanto Mary. I don't think Tom is as stubborn as Mary. Sam's life has gotten so out of control. A vida de Sammy ficou tão fora de controle. Sam's life has gotten so out of control. Sammy moved into that place with a friend. Sammy mudou-se para aquele lugar com um amigo. Sammy moved into that place with a friend. Sammy was praying to God every single day. Sammy orava a Deus todos os dias. Sammy was praying to God every single day. Sammy needed to travel thousands of miles. Sammy precisou viajar milhares de quilômetros. Sammy needed to travel thousands of miles. Sammy bought the dog with his credit card. Sammy comprou o cachorro com cartão de crédito. Sammy bought the dog with his credit card. Sammy went into the toilet stall and peed. Sammy foi até o banheiro e fez xixi. Sammy went into the toilet stall and peed. Sammy isn't allowed to discipline my kids. Sammy não tem permissão para disciplinar meus filhos. Sammy isn't allowed to discipline my kids. Don't worry, I'll come up with something. Não se preocupe, eu vou pensar em alguma coisa. Don't worry, I will come up with something. Sammy didn't make his birthday a big deal. Sammy não deu grande importância ao seu aniversário. Sammy didn't make his birthday a big deal. Sammy just needed to tell Lila something. Sammy só precisava contar algo a Lila. Sammy just needed to tell Lila something. Sammy gave me a teddy bear for my birthday. Sammy me deu um ursinho de pelúcia de aniversário. Sammy gave me a teddy bear for my birthday. Sammy felt Lila's hands on his shoulders. Sammy sentiu as mãos de Lila em seus ombros. Sammy felt Lila's hands on his shoulders. Sammy ended up blocking Lila on Facebook. Sammy acabou bloqueando Lila no Facebook. Sammy ended up blocking Lila on Facebook. Sammy and Lila went to a club that night. Sammy e Lila foram a uma boate naquela noite. Sammy and Lila went to a club that night. Sammy and Lila live in this neighborhood. Sammy e Lila moram neste bairro. Sammy and Lila live in this neighborhood. Sammy went over to his friend John's car. Sammy foi até o carro de seu amigo John. Sammy went over to his friend John's car. Sammy doesn't know what's going to happen. Sammy não sabe o que vai acontecer. Sammy doesn't know what's going to happen. Sammy doesn't come from where I come from. Sammy não vem de onde eu venho. Sammy doesn't come from where I come from. Sammy answered the call and it was a girl. Sammy atendeu a ligação e era uma menina. Sammy answered the call and it was a girl. Sammy and Lila haven't talked in so long. Sammy e Lila não se falam há muito tempo. Sammy and Lila haven't talked in so long. Sammy is originally from Toronto, Ontario. Sammy é originalmente de Toronto, Ontário. Sammy is originally from Toronto, Ontario. Sammy made a mistake in his pronunciation. Sammy cometeu erro de pronúncia. Sammy made a mistake in his pronunciation. Sammy was raised in a Christian household. Sammy foi criado em uma família cristã. Sammy was raised in a Christian household. Lila is more ugly now than she was then. Lila é mais feia agora do que era antes. Lila is more ugly now than she was then. Sammy went to his mom's place on weekends. Sammy ia para a casa da mãe nos fins de semana. Sammy went to his mom's place on weekends. Sammy had to really fight for his beliefs. Sammy teve que realmente lutar por suas crenças. Sammy had to really fight for his beliefs. Lila started a company with her husband. Lila abriu uma empresa com o marido. Lila started a company with her husband. Sammy doesn't really think anything of it. Sammy realmente não pensa nada sobre isso. Sammy doesn't really think anything of it. Tom had no idea that Maria felt that way. Tom não tinha ideia de que Maria se sentia assim. Tom had no idea that Maria felt that way. Lila recently decided to wear the hijab. Lila decidiu recentemente usar hijab. Lila recently decided to wear the hijab. Sammy is thinking about wearing the hijab. Sammy está pensando em usar hijab. Sammy is thinking about wearing the hijab. Lila didn't wear the hijab at the time. Lila não usava hijab naquela época. Lila didn't wear the hijab at the time. Sammy isn't ready for that responsibility. Sammy não está pronto para essa responsabilidade. Sammy isn't ready for that responsibility. Sammy didn't have first period with Lila. Sammy não teve primeiro período com Lila. Sammy didn't have first period with Lila. Sammy has heard a lot of shit about Lila. Sammy ouviu muita merda sobre Lila. Sammy has heard a lot of shit about Lila. The branch of that tree is full of birds. O galho daquela árvore está cheio de pássaros. The branch of that tree is full of birds. This test has a high false positive rate. Este teste tem uma alta taxa de falsos positivos. This test has a high false positive rate. Tom could talk about dogs for hours. Tom poderia falar sobre cachorros por horas. Tom could talk about dogs for hours. Lila did natural hair videos on YouTube. Lila fez vídeos de cabelos naturais no YouTube. Lila did natural hair videos on YouTube. Sammy received this email more than once. Sammy recebeu este e-mail mais de uma vez. Sammy received this email more than once. Tom's grandmother passed away last night. A avó de Tom faleceu ontem à noite. Tom's grandmother passed away last night. Sammy needs to know how to defend himself. Sammy precisa saber se defender. Sammy needs to know how to defend himself. Sammy called Lila every name in the book. Sammy chamou Lila de todos os nomes do livro. Sammy called Lila every name in the book. Sammy heard somebody coming into the room. Sammy ouviu alguém entrando na sala. Sammy heard somebody coming into the room. Why do these things always happen to you? Por que essas coisas sempre acontecem com você? Why do these things always happen to you? Why do these things always happen to Tom? Por que essas coisas sempre acontecem com Tom? Why do these things always happen to Tom? I accidentally spilled coffee on the mat. Acidentalmente derramei café no tapete. I accidentally spilled coffee on the mat. Sammy wanted to know what happened to her. Sammy queria saber o que aconteceu com ela. Sammy wanted to know what happened to her. Sammy knew something was a little bit off. Sammy sabia que algo estava um pouco errado. Sammy knew something was a little bit off. Sammy can only give Lila 15 minutes. Sammy só pode dar Lila 15 minutos. Sammy can only give Lila 15 minutes. Sammy should let Lila know that he is okay. Sammy deveria avisar Lila que ele está bem. Sammy should let Lila know that he's okay. Love is not outside you, it's inside you. O amor não está fora de você, está dentro de você. Love is not outside you, it's inside you. Sammy couldn't stand being poor like this. Sammy não suportava ser pobre assim. Sammy couldn't stand being poor like this. Sammy bought a pretty good piece of cake. Sammy comprou belo pedaço de bolo. Sammy bought a pretty good piece of cake. He acquired influence in the royal court. Ele adquiriu influência na corte real. He acquired influence in the royal court. Tom bought an old computer on Craigslist. Tom comprou computador antigo no Craigslist. Tom bought an old computer on Craigslist. Tom was surprised to see his friend Mary. Tom ficou surpreso ao ver sua amiga Mary. Tom was surprised to see his friend Mary. Tom is planning to do this himself. Tom está planejando fazer isso sozinho. Tom is planning to do this himself. Sammy doesn't want to break Lila's heart. Sammy não quer partir o coração de Lila. Sammy doesn't want to break Lila's heart. Sammy didn't feel ready to take that step. Sammy não se sentia pronto para dar esse passo. Sammy didn't feel ready to take that step. This book made quite an impression on me. Este livro me impressionou muito, me impressionou bastante. This book made quite an impression on me. Sammy found that very difficult back then. Sammy achou isso muito difícil naquela época. Sammy found that very difficult back then. Sammy received messages from some friends. Sammy recebeu mensagens de alguns amigos. Sammy received messages from some friends. Tom knew deep inside that Mary was right. Tom sabia no fundo que Mary estava certa. Tom knew deep inside that Mary was right. Mary knew deep inside that Tom was right. Mary sabia no fundo que Tom estava certo. Mary knew deep inside that Tom was right. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Você tem algo a dizer em sua defesa? Do you have anything to say for yourself? I am terrified of being alone in the dark. Tenho medo de ficar sozinho no escuro. I'm terrified of being alone in the dark. Are you coming to Mary's Halloween party? Você vem para a festa de Halloween da Mary? Are you coming to Mary's Halloween party? I love you, Mary, but I don't love you. Eu te amo, Mary, mas eu não amo você. I love you, Mary, but I don't love you. We were very happy until you came around. Estávamos muito felizes até você aparecer. We were very happy until you came around. We are looking for a way out of this mess. Estamos procurando uma saída para essa bagunça. We are looking for a way out of this mess. I fear that there will be complications. Temo que haja complicações. I fear that there would be complications. Are there any new cheeses at the grocery? Há algum queijo novo no supermercado? Are there any new cheeses at the grocery? Mary's husband is much older than she is. O marido de Mary é muito mais velho do que ela. Mary's husband is much older than she is. Mary would like to see you in her office. Mary gostaria de vê-lo em seu escritório. Mary would like to see you in her office. Mary would do whatever you ask her to do. Mary faria tudo o que você pedisse a ela. Mary would do whatever you ask her to do. Mary would do anything you ask her to do. Mary faria qualquer coisa que você pedisse. Mary would do anything you asked her to do. Mary told her daughter to behave herself. Mary disse à filha para se comportar. Mary told her daughter to behave herself. Mary doesn't think that it was her fault. Mary não acha que foi culpa dela. Mary doesn't think that it was her fault. Mary can't do that right now. She's busy. Mary não pode fazer isso agora. Ela está ocupada. Mary can't do that right now. She's busy. She said that she had a knife in her car. Ela disse que tinha uma faca no carro. She said that she had a knife in her car. She thought that she was losing her mind. Ela pensou que estava enlouquecendo. She thought that she was losing her mind. She told me that she'd lost her textbook. Ela me disse que havia perdido seu livro. She told me that she'd lost her textbook. They've lost their jobs and their houses. Eles perderam seus empregos e suas casas. They've lost their jobs and their houses. They've locked themselves in their rooms. Eles se trancaram em seus quartos. They've locked themselves in their rooms. They are still working on their computers. Eles ainda estão trabalhando em seus computadores. They are still working on their computers. They are still not answering their phones. Eles ainda não estão atendendo os telefones. They are still not answering their phones. They are selling their house, aren't they? Eles estão vendendo a casa, não estão? They are selling their house, aren't they? They are putting stuff in their backpacks. Eles estão colocando coisas na mochila. They are putting stuff in their backpacks. They are proud of their stamp collections. Eles estão orgulhosos de suas coleções de selos. They are proud of their stamp collections. They are planning to repaint their houses. Eles estão planejando repintar suas casas. They are planning to repaint their houses. They are planning to renovate their homes. Eles estão planejando reformar suas casas. They are planning to renovate their homes. They are now straightening up their rooms. Eles agora estão arrumando seus quartos. They are now straightening up their rooms. They are in their rooms packing right now. Eles estão em seus quartos fazendo as malas agora. They are in their rooms packing right now. They are going to go skiing by themselves. Eles vão esquiar sozinhos. They are going to go skiing by themselves. They are enjoying themselves, aren't they? Eles estão se divertindo, não estão? They are enjoying themselves, aren't they? They are doing what they can, aren't they? Eles estão fazendo o que podem, não estão? They are doing what they can, aren't they? They are afraid to go there by themselves. Eles têm medo de ir para lá sozinhos. They are afraid to go there by themselves. They weren't in their rooms this morning. Eles não estavam em seus quartos esta manhã. They weren't in their rooms this morning. They stayed in their rooms by themselves. Eles ficaram em seus quartos sozinhos. They stayed in their rooms by themselves. They have to travel a lot for their jobs. Eles têm que viajar muito para trabalhar. They have to travel a lot for their jobs. They have a year left on their contracts. Eles ainda têm um ano de contrato. They have a year left on their contracts. They ate their sandwiches at their desks. Eles comeram seus sanduíches em suas mesas. They ate their sandwiches at their desks. They are trying to protect their families. Eles estão tentando proteger suas famílias. They are trying to protect their families. They spent Christmas with their families. Eles passaram o Natal com suas famílias. They spent Christmas with their families. They say they are proud of their children. Eles dizem que estão orgulhosos de seus filhos. They say they are proud of their children. They explained how they lost their money. Eles explicaram como perderam seu dinheiro. They explained how they lost their money. They can't tie their shoes by themselves. Eles não conseguem amarrar os sapatos sozinhos. They can't tie their shoes by themselves. They forgot their umbrellas in their car. Eles esqueceram os guarda-chuvas no carro. They forgot their umbrellas in their car. They left their sunglasses in their car. Eles deixaram os óculos escuros no carro. They left their sunglasses in their car. They said that we could borrow their car. Eles disseram que poderíamos pegar emprestado o carro deles. They said that we could borrow their car. They told me their cars were in the shop. Eles me disseram que seus carros estavam na oficina. They told me their cars were in the shop. They told me where they parked their car. Eles me disseram onde estacionaram o carro. They told me where they parked their car. They are trying to protect their children. Eles estão tentando proteger seus filhos. They are trying to protect their children. They gathered their children around them. Eles reuniram seus filhos ao seu redor. They gathered their children around them. They had their children paint the garage. Eles pediram aos filhos que pintassem a garagem. They had their children paint the garage. They are very active in their communities. Eles são muito ativos em suas comunidades. They are very active in their communities. They have to speak French for their jobs. Eles têm que falar francês em seus trabalhos. They have to speak French for their jobs. They were having the time of their lives. Eles estavam se divertindo muito. They were having the time of their lives. They weren't willing to go by themselves. Eles não estavam dispostos a ir sozinhos. They weren't willing to go by themselves. They said they walked home by themselves. Eles disseram que voltaram para casa sozinhos. They said they walked home by themselves. They said that they'd do that themselves. Eles disseram que fariam isso sozinhos. They said that they'd do that themselves. They say they are not enjoying themselves. Eles dizem que não estão se divertindo. They say they are not enjoying themselves. They kept their suspicions to themselves. Eles mantiveram suas suspeitas para si. They kept their suspicions to themselves. They have nobody to blame but themselves. Eles não têm ninguém para culpar além de si mesmos. They have nobody to blame but themselves. They have no one to blame but themselves. Eles não têm ninguém para culpar além de si mesmos. They have no one to blame but themselves. They have the right to defend themselves. Eles têm o direito de se defender. They have the right to defend themselves. They locked themselves in their bedrooms. Eles se trancaram em seus quartos. They locked themselves in their bedrooms. They told themselves that they should go. Eles disseram a si mesmos que deveriam ir. They told themselves that they should go. They wanted to go live with their father. Eles queriam ir morar com o pai. They wanted to go live with their father. Tom has a secret he's never told anybody. Tom tem segredo que nunca contou a ninguém. Tom has a secret he's never told anybody. They never admitted that they were wrong. Eles nunca admitiram que estavam errados. They never admitted that they were wrong. I never dreamed I would ever be so happy. Nunca sonhei que seria tão feliz. I never dreamed I would ever be so happy. He smiled at me and I smiled at him. Ele sorriu para mim e então eu sorri para ele. He smiled at me and then I smiled at him. I don't think your parents would approve. Não acho que seus pais aprovariam. I don't think your parents would approve. My friend hardly glanced up as I entered. Meu amigo mal ergueu os olhos quando eu entrei. My friend hardly glanced up as I entered. Sammy was pretty rebellious as a teenager. Sammy foi bastante rebelde quando adolescente. Sammy was pretty rebellious as a teenager. Sammy started researching other religions. Sammy começou a pesquisar outros religiosos. Sammy started researching other religions. There's nothing wrong with that sentence. Não há nada de errado com essa frase. There's nothing wrong with that sentence. Tom wants to learn how to ride a bicycle. Tom quer aprender a andar de bicicleta. Tom wants to learn how to ride a bicycle. Did the umbrella you found belong to Tom? O guarda-chuva que você encontrou pertencia ao Tom? Did the umbrella you found belong to Tom? If I don't do it, then someone else will. Se eu não fizer isso, outra pessoa o fará. If I don't do it, then someone else will. I didn't want to do anything to hurt Tom. Eu não queria fazer nada para machucar Tom. I didn't want to do anything to hurt Tom. We breathe, eat, and speak with the mouth. Respiramos, comemos e falamos com a boca. We breathe, eat, and speak with the mouth. My children love the story of Snow White. Meus filhos adoram a história da Branca de Neve. My children love the story of Snow White. I've read the book The Little Prince. Li o livro Pequeno Príncipe. I've read the book The Little Prince. Tom's parents left him very little money. Os pais de Tom deixaram muito pouco dinheiro para ele. Tom's parents left him very little money. Tom and Mary said they've been very busy. Tom e Mary disseram que têm estado muito ocupados. Tom and Mary said they've been very busy. They think that they should study French. Eles acham que deveriam estudar francês. They think that they should study French. They don't think that they could do that. Eles não acham que poderiam fazer isso. They don't think that they could do that. They aren't as old as you think they are. Eles não são tão velhos quanto você pensa. They aren't as old as you think they are. Tom and Mary waved to everybody they saw. Tom e Mary acenaram para todos que viram. Tom and Mary waved to everybody they saw. Tom and Mary want us to know they did it. Tom e Mary querem que saibamos que foram eles. Tom and Mary want us to know they did it. Tom and Mary know they are in trouble now. Tom e Mary sabem que estão com problemas agora. Tom and Mary know they are in trouble now. Tom and Mary know that they can trust us. Tom e Mary sabem que podem confiar em nós. Tom and Mary know that they can trust us. They let me know that they could do that. Eles me disseram que poderiam fazer isso. They let me know that they could do that. They know that they are going to be fired. Eles sabem que serão demitidos. They know that they are going to be fired. They didn't know that they'd hurt anyone. Eles não sabiam que machucariam alguém. They didn't know that they'd hurt anyone. Tom and Mary walked as far as they could. Tom e Mary caminharam o máximo que puderam. Tom and Mary walked as far as they could. Tom and Mary usually keep their promises. Tom e Mary geralmente cumprem suas promessas. Tom and Mary usually keep their promises. They told us that they could win. Eles nos disseram que poderiam vencer. They told us that they could win. They told me they are very hungry. Eles me disseram que estão com muita fome. They told me they are very hungry. They told me that they weren't convinced. Eles me disseram que não estavam convencidos. They told me that they weren't convinced. They told everyone that they were scared. Eles disseram a todos que estavam com medo. They told everyone that they were scared. They told everyone that they were lonely. Eles disseram a todos que estavam sozinhos. They told everyone that they were lonely. They told everyone that they were afraid. Eles disseram a todos que estavam com medo. They told everyone that they were afraid. I wasn't invited to the opening ceremony. Não fui convidado para a cerimônia de abertura. I wasn't invited to the opening ceremony. To live without hope is to cease to live. Viver sem esperança é deixar de viver. To live without hope is to cease to live. Dogs mark their territories by urinating. Os cães marcam seus territórios urinando. Dogs mark their territories by urinating. Tom bought a model train set for his son. Tom comprou modelo de trem para seu filho. Tom bought a model train set for his son. Our old chambers had been left unchanged. Nossos antigos aposentos permaneceram inalterados. Our old chambers had been left unchanged. A cool breeze blew in through the window. Uma brisa fresca soprava pela janela. A cool breeze blew in through the window. Sammy walked around the Kaaba 7 times. Sammy deu a volta na Kaaba 7 vezes. Sammy walked around the Kaaba 7 times. What does it mean to be a good old boy? O que significa ser bom e velho menino? What does it mean to be a good old boy? John and Anna tied their boat to the dock. John e Anna amarraram barco no cais. John and Anna tied their boat to the dock. Sammy and Mary thought they'd forgotten it. Sammy e Mary pensaram que tinham esquecido. Sammy and Mary thought they'd forgotten it. Tom and Anna aren't what they used to be. Tom e Anna não são mais o que costumavam ser. Tom and Anna aren't what they used to be. They realized that they couldn't do that. Eles perceberam que não poderiam fazer isso. They realized that they couldn't do that. They've said that they intend to do that. Eles disseram que pretendem fazer isso. They've said that they intend to do that. They've assured me that they will be there. Eles me garantiram que estarão lá. They've assured me that they will be there. He's wearing skinny jeans and a tank top. Ele está vestindo jeans skinny e uma regata. He's wearing skinny jeans and a tank top. You will certainly read it with interest. Você certamente irá lê-lo com interesse. You will certainly read it with interest. There the guests can leave their clothes. Lá os convidados podem deixar suas roupas. There the guests can leave their clothes. He stayed completely alone in the castle. Ele ficou completamente sozinho no castelo. He stayed completely alone in the castle. She never drank in front of her daughter. Ela nunca bebia na frente da filha. She never drank in front of her daughter. Swear you will never go back to that house. Jure que nunca mais voltará para aquela casa. Swear you will never go back to that house. Where did he stay when he was in Brazil? Onde ele ficou quando esteve no Brasil? Where did he stay when he was in Brazil? I don't much care for this kind of drink. Não ligo muito para esse tipo de bebida. I don't much care for this kind of drink. I don't play tennis as much as I used to. Não jogo tênis tanto quanto antes. I don't play tennis as much as I used to. That isn't high on my list of priorities. Isso não está no topo da minha lista de prioridades. That isn't high on my list of priorities. This isn't exactly my idea of have fun. Esta não é exatamente a minha ideia de me divertir. This isn't exactly my idea of having fun. This city isn't as busy as it used to be. Essa cidade não é tão movimentada como costumava ser. This city isn't as busy as it used to be. This highway isn't very bicycle friendly. Esta rodovia não é muito adequada para bicicletas. This highway isn't very bicycle friendly. This material isn't suitable for a dress. Este material não é adequado para um vestido. This material isn't suitable for a dress. What I need isn't money, but your advice. O que eu preciso não é de dinheiro, mas do seu conselho. What I need isn't money, but your advice. French isn't all that difficult to learn. Francês não é tão difícil de aprender. French isn't all that difficult to learn. Tom wanted to know why Mary wasn't happy. Tom queria saber por que Mary não estava feliz. Tom wanted to know why Mary wasn't happy. Tom couldn't afford to go to the concert. Tom não tinha dinheiro para ir ao show. Tom couldn't afford to go to the concert. That isn't why I called you in here, Tom. Não foi por isso que chamei você aqui, Tom. That isn't why I called you in here, Tom. Tom isn't at all sure where he should go. Tom não tem certeza de para onde deveria ir. Tom isn't at all sure where he should go. Tom should be glad he isn't here with us. Tom deveria estar feliz por não estar aqui conosco. Tom should be glad he isn't here with us. Tom says he isn't planning to go anymore. Tom diz que não planeja ir mais. Tom says he isn't planning to go anymore. Tom knows he isn't likely to be punished. Tom sabe que provavelmente não será punido. Tom knows he isn't likely to be punished. John is a painter, but he isn't very good. John é pintor, mas não é muito bom. John is a painter, but he isn't very good. If you were looking for Tom, he isn't here. Se você está procurando por Tom, ele não está aqui. If you're looking for Tom, he isn't here. I'm not Tom's type. And he isn't my type. Não sou o tipo de Tom. E ele não é meu tipo. I'm not Tom's type. And he isn't my type. Mary said that it isn't going to end well. Mary disse que não vai acabar bem. Mary said that it isn't going to end well. Where did Tom get that great-looking hat? Onde Tom conseguiu aquele chapéu lindo? Where did Tom get that great-looking hat? Where did Tom get these delicious apples? Onde Tom conseguiu essas maçãs deliciosas? Where did Tom get these delicious apples? Where did he put the book he was reading? Onde ele colocou o livro que estava lendo? Where did he put the book he was reading? How much for an economy ticket to Boston? Quanto custa uma passagem econômica para Boston? How much for an economy ticket to Boston? English and German are related languages. Inglês e alemão são idiomas relacionados. English and German are related languages. Tom realized that Mary shouldn't do that. Tom percebeu que Mary não deveria fazer isso. Tom realized that Mary shouldn't do that. You think that Tom is a crook, don't you? Você acha que Tom é bandido, não é? You think that Tom is a crook, don't you? You might get hurt if you were not careful. Você pode se machucar se não tomar cuidado. You might get hurt if you're not careful. You know that you don't really mean that. Você sabe que você realmente não quis dizer isso. You know that you don't really mean that. You know that you can always count on me. Você sabe que sempre pode contar comigo. You know that you can always count on me. You had to know that Tom might get upset. Você tinha que saber que Tom poderia ficar chateado. You had to know that Tom might get upset. You didn't know I could do that, did you? Você não sabia que eu poderia fazer isso, sabia? You didn't know I could do that, did you? You can't let anybody know that I'm here. Você não pode deixar ninguém saber que estou aqui. You can't let anybody know that I'm here. You can have one more cookie if you want. Você pode comer mais biscoito se quiser. You can have one more cookie if you want. You and I both know that's not true. Você e eu sabemos que isso não é verdade. You and I both know that's not true. Why didn't you tell us we should do that? Por que você não nos disse que deveríamos fazer isso? Why didn't you tell us we should do that? We know that you can't do that very well. Sabemos que você não pode fazer isso muito bem. We know that you can't do that very well. We know that Tom doesn't want to do that. Sabemos que Tom não quer fazer isso. We know that Tom doesn't want to do that. We know Tom is unlikely to do that today. Sabemos que é improvável que Tom faça isso hoje. We know Tom is unlikely to do that today. We didn't know you were going to do that. Não sabíamos que você ia fazer isso. We didn't know you were going to do that. We all know Tom isn't willing to do that. Todos nós sabemos que Tom não está disposto a fazer isso. We all know Tom isn't willing to do that. Tom won't find anyone to do that for him. Tom não encontrará ninguém para fazer isso por ele. Tom won't find anyone to do that for him. Tom will find someone to do that for him. Tom encontrará alguém para fazer isso por ele. Tom will find someone to do that for him. Tom wasn't aware Mary was staring at him. Tom não sabia que Mary estava olhando para ele. Tom wasn't aware Mary was staring at him. Tom was the one who blew up the balloons. Foi Tom quem explodiu os balões. Tom was the one who blew up the balloons. Tom was convinced Mary needed to do that. Tom estava convencido de que Mary precisava fazer isso. Tom was convinced Mary needed to do that. John was born before his twin brothers was. John nasceu antes de seu irmão gêmeo. John was born before his twin brothers was. Tom was aware that he was being followed. Tom estava ciente de que estava sendo seguido. Tom was aware that he was being followed. John wants to learn how to play the piano. John quer aprender a tocar piano. John wants to learn how to play the piano. Tom wants to learn how to play the drums. Tom quer aprender a tocar bateria. Tom wants to learn how to play the drums. Tom wants all the same things Mary wants. Tom quer todas as mesmas coisas que Mary quer. Tom wants all the same things Mary wants. John wants Anna to know she can trust him. John quer que Anna saiba que ela pode confiar nele. John wants Anna to know she can trust him. Tom tried to convince Mary she was wrong. Tom tentou convencer Mary de que ela estava errada. Tom tried to convince Mary she was wrong. John told us we should come back tomorrow. John nos disse que deveríamos voltar amanhã. John told us we should come back tomorrow. Tom told me Mary doesn't want to do that. Tom me disse que Mary não quer fazer isso. Tom told me Mary doesn't want to do that. Tom told me John was a terrible roommate. Tom me disse que John era péssimo colega de quarto. Tom told me John was a terrible roommate. John told everyone that he had to do that. John disse a todos que precisava fazer isso. John told everyone that he had to do that. Tom told Mary that he had to leave early. Tom disse a Mary que precisava sair mais cedo. Tom told Mary that he had to leave early. John thinks he's better than anybody else. John acha que é melhor do que qualquer outra pessoa. John thinks he's better than anybody else. Tom stressed his position hadn't changed. Tom enfatizou que sua posição não mudou. Tom stressed his position hadn't changed. Mary speaks French a lot better than I do. Mary fala francês muito melhor do que eu. Mary speaks French a lot better than I do. Tom showed a photo of his mother to Mary. Tom mostrou uma foto de sua mãe para Mary. Tom showed a photo of his mother to Mary. John scolded his son in front of everyone. John repreendeu o filho na frente de todos. John scolded his son in front of everyone. Tom says he's been discriminated against. Tom diz que foi discriminado. Tom says he's been discriminated against. Tom says he knows that Mary will do that. Tom diz que sabe que Mary fará isso. Tom says he knows that Mary will do that. John said that he's going to talk to Anna. John disse que vai falar com Ana. John said that he's going to talk to Anna. Tom said Mary had left before he arrived. Tom disse que Mary havia saído antes dele chegar. Tom said Mary had left before he arrived. Tom really thought that I should do that. Tom realmente achou que eu deveria fazer isso. Tom really thought that I should do that. John really thought that I had to do that. John realmente achou que eu tinha que fazer isso. John really thought that I had to do that.